Welcome to the Packweight Show. Yo, welcome back to the Packweight Show. We're back again this week with episode 7 and our great friend Morgan, aka DJ Switch, a longtime OG rollerblader, friend of ours. He's a DJ, a breakdancer, a musician, a rapper, a podcast host. So welcome, Morgan. It's so great to see you again, my friend.
Yo, good to see all the gents. I would say more like brothers for life. Just the journey, watching all these episodes has brought back like crazy nostalgia. I'm not a rapper, by the way, but but definitely all the rest that you mentioned. But yeah, man, it's good to see familiar faces. It's just good. I've just been watching the show and it's just been absolutely crazy. Exciting memories, and yeah, man. Gonna have fun with this one.
Absolutely, yeah. The nostalgia has been so great, and yeah, we're so grateful you've been checking it out, and all the homies, and yeah, it's exciting to talk about the old days. I don't know if exciting is the right word. It's nice to reminisce, and yeah, I think we can rebuild some of the rollerblading scene here in South Africa, and just go through some cool pictures.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Welcome, Morgan. It's freaking awesome to have you on the show.
Yeah, thank you. Yes, sir.
It's been a long time, brother.
Indeed.
We've kind of featured you a lot. We were baiting you little bit by little bit.
Yeah, I know. I saw this. I was like, yo. And the fact that you had all that shit, I was like, God damn, you know what I mean? So it was just good to see all that shit, and like I've got some other surprises here for everybody. I mean, I've sent a whole lot of stuff to be, but I've got some other surprises here as well that I've just kept in my stash that I should have actually scanned, but I just pulled them out this morning. So we're gonna share it on the show.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Awesome, man. Yeah, that's very cool to hear. Do you want to start us off with telling us, like, when did you first get your rollerblades and get started?
Yeah, man. So, 94, actually, we started ice skating at Carlton Ice Rink. And, that was sort of like the inception. I just started going to the ice rink a lot. And, I met some friends there, with the likes of Dean, John, Vuyo. Me and Vuyo actually went to school together. And, that's where when we kept on going every single week. And then we met some other homies. They said, come and try like roller hockey. And we were like, well, if we can ice skate, but like outside during the week, that'll also be cool. And, we got introduced to rollerblading. At the times, we would see like the rollerball come out, and then it eventually was inline skates. And then, we managed to get to there were a bunch of us, and we managed to get ourselves a pair of rollerblades. The cheapies, things like turbines, right? I don't know if you remember turbines that came out originally, which was like
of course,
it was more of a roller hockey kind of skate, and it was super fast. It was probably like top tier, it's probably the fastest rollerblade you could find, before like in South Africa, I would say, with crazy ABAC 7, ABAC 5 bearings, you know what I mean? And,
big wheels.
And yeah, I think they had Fat Boys on at the time. I think they could have had Fat Boys wheels on at the time, and they had like those kind of like I don't know what kind of wheels they were, like silicone wheels that you could only use like in a roller hockey court, but not on like streets. You know what I mean? Because they'll just like fizzle out, And we were staying in Hillbrow at the time, and we were looking for skate parks. We didn't really have skate parks at the time, so we were looking around for these like skate parks because we didn't know where they were. Coming across movies like, I don't know if you remember Airborne. That was like a movie that came out, and that was like the first inline movie. And, we would look for these skate parks. We didn't know where they were. And we ended up finding one in Edenvale. And they had metal ramps there. And they also had a roller hockey court there. So we would skate because we didn't have cars at the time. There was, it's not like, it was kind of very primitive at the time. There wasn't enough public transport to get there. So we would skate from Hillbrow to Yeovil to like Eastgate to Bedford View to Edenvale. right? And we'd
That's sick.
do this on like, just to get to a skate park because we'd see ramps, just to, get some air, do that type of stuff, get a rail. And then we'd find out that, eventually there was a skate park at the waterfront. And we'd mission and find all these different skate parks. Obviously, we knew there was Kyalami and Boogaloo's, like these are like the holy grail skate parks. That if you get there, and then we heard about frogs, and those kind of skate parks. So we'd mission around to all these different places, obviously while doing like ice skating and then ice hockey, and then leaving that, and then going full time like aggressive skating. We want to be aggressive, and then eventually we got out to the Rancho, and this was our first experience of seeing like pro riders like Demo Gene Herman on that like sketchy 8-foot Boogaloo's ramp, which is like, it was the closest 8-foot ramp we've ever seen. It wasn't like wide, and that was just sort of our inception, and we just sort of, our minds were just blown away that this really exists. Like in South Africa, we'd always see it. First of all, we see it on a movie or whatever, because obviously the skateboard frenzy was there, and I mean, like, it was always going to be there. It was there before rollerblading. So we'd then eventually, get our steez up, and we'd start mishing around, and then we'd find places like Kyalami Skate Park, and we'd enter our first competition. But just the excitement of seeing other rollerbladers from different parts of the country, coming from Pretoria, coming from Rustenburg, that was, we became very close friends with the Rustenburg dudes before we even became friends with, like, I don't know if you remember Eugene, Eugene, and then it was Andre, Alexi, the other Frank, Christian. Those dudes, I mean, they were like, we thought they were like the upside down team at the time, because everybody wore upside down skates, you know what I mean? And it was just weird, but we got introduced to something called contest, competition. And we then skate, obviously, in our first competition, which was at the Nationals, which I think was 95, I think. And that was like our first exposure to competition skating. And, that was actually, that's when like Dean and we were up on podium, and I never made it. And it was the following year that I came back with a vengeance.
So did you go to Sun City 1995?
No, we just heard about it. We didn't have means to get there, but we just heard about. We heard about this big competition that was happening there, but we just kept on in the background, going to other skate parks, venturing to like Thrashers and going to Boogaloo's. Obviously, I don't know if you remember, man, there were these two brothers, Brett and Sean, I think it was, from Boogaloo's. Brett and Sean, they were like, I think so, Red, big guy, and they like owned that mini ramp at the time. And every time we went there, we thought like, these kids are like, well, we were all kids at the time, but we were just like, these guys are pro, you know what I mean? And we didn't actually realize how small Boogaloo's actually was with everybody in at the time, you know what I mean? And we just wanted to get out there. So we'd find our ways getting around, whether it be catching 3 taxis, and then we'd have one of our friends' mom come pick us up at the end, because they wouldn't do like 4 trips, you know what I mean? Like there and back, and then there and back. And all we just wanted to do was just to rollerblade and skate wherever we could. Eventually, we just, getting exposed to this kind of culture just changed our life and perception, because, I wasn't a kid that wanted to play soccer, rugby, or cricket at the time. It wasn't for me. And I think a lot of people could also relate, because we just found like something more exciting, but also the individuals that you meet in the culture at the time was like, oh, wow, there's actually different kind of people like, one another. And we'd want to do something a little bit different to, I don't know, just from the norm. I mean, at the time we'd learn about, you guys always call it angry youth. I think that was one of the things Cliff always used to, mention it. And I think we just, meet a brotherhood of people more than anything else, because I think that was what we became. And I think we had learned our adolescence through like the culture, going through life, because coming from a single parent home, my mom didn't know what I was doing, but she just knew I loved doing different shit. And this is also where I got more exposed to hip hop, which is even more crazy. I knew I loved it, but the music whether it be, anything from punk, from rock, but hip hop was kind of the center of rollerblading amongst the other genres that was there, and it gave a lot of people life and energy. Also, finding people's individuality. That was like really a crazy thing as to how this whole thing really came together. But learning about different people, cultures, from where people come from, only to find out that we are not any different, from the circumstances we come from. And that was the amazing part, to get accepted. I mean, like, we had to become friends with a lot of people. I know Byron as it was a tough cookie to crack. He was just angry.
Not the first time we got that feedback, but
but I think to get accepted into, obviously because we want to be there, we want to be part of this whole thing, and we didn't know what it was. We just knew that this was aggressive inline skating, and that this was something that was just new to us, and we were just excited about it. But it's really just, it's been a wild journey, because this really sort of kind of like it shaped my future more than anything else, because of where it's gone to. I mean, it's sort of still in line with what I'm doing today from '94 up until now. Sure, what is that? A good 30 years, I would say. '94.
That's wild.
2004. And then
31 years.
Sorry,
yeah,
31
I think
years.
it shaped us all deeply. Like, as you're saying, it was a very counterculture kind of vibe. We're not like doing the team sports thing, or maybe we were doing it, but like we just wanted to go skating, hang with our friends, listen to music, and like the music really did tie us together a lot. And like you're talking about back early 90s, and I remember 97, like Wu-Tang Forever came out, and we were all just like blown away.
Yeah.
And like
Definitely.
we dove so deeply down that rabbit hole, and eventually started breakdancing. And I can't even remember why we started. Like, maybe we must have seen the homies at a Ready D show, and
from
we just
reality
wanted to
days.
start dancing. Yeah. And 206.
Yeah, exactly.
BBK shows, 206. Then they came
100%.
coming to our comps too. So that was a massive exposure to us.
And I think hip hop was also so new to the country, and it was still niche. Like, not many people had heard it or seen it or been a part of it. So it was like the inception of that, and we were just at the right place at the right time to be involved with things, which is amazing.
Well, it was one of those huge cultural exports from America, right? Like, I remember being a similar age, around 11 or 12, and obsessed with like NBA and, what was that show that was on the TV, NBA Jam, or that was the game. And just like, that was part of, I don't know, getting us into these different types of influences. And I think all just growing up, and it was a crazy vibe at that time, because like, as you say, we didn't have cars or anything, and we were just trying to get around, and there was no internet, no cell phones, and so like finding out about where the skate parks were, and finding out where to actually go ride and when the comps were, it was not that easy, So like, dudes would go to the skate shops and hopefully see some posters, or because you like wanted to get new skates or new wheels or some clothes or something, and like that was kind of a meeting ground to figure out a lot of what was going on at the time. But I mean, these days, I mean, the world's at our fingertips. It's so much easier to connect with people and find where places are, and it's amazing. But yeah, you brought up Frogs, and I hadn't thought about that place in so long. Like, that small little park in Four Ways that was in a warehouse, and so like when it was raining, you could go there. But yeah, that's a wild memory. I hadn't thought of that in ages. You're speaking about the internet, and I mean, obviously there's a lot of pages popping up, like Blade Life TV. They're showing a lot of old clips, and sort of mixing a lot of the new music, and you're seeing some of like, I mean, now there's this one, I don't know if that kid is in Nitro Circus. There's some kid there's a rollerblader in one of the shows, and he does all this. I mean, it's so much more exciting to see now, considering from where we've come from, and to have, I mean, if we had all the technology we had today, all those endorsements we were looking for would have been gone by now. You know what I mean?
And I mean, like when you were speaking of, when you were speaking about, having like Toby go overseas and Frank and like how you guys got lost and all that kind of stuff. And for them to see someone do a bio off a ramp could have probably was also for us to see it the first time in South Africa was also like mind blowing. And just to see like, I mean, obviously if you go stand next to a ramp right now, it's probably like not even that big. But I mean, for us to see it live in effect really pushed the envelope for rollerblading in South Africa. And that was like a crazy thing to see, apart from having like, the BMXs, the skateboarding, which eventually started evolving when we started doing shows together, because then that sort of pushed the envelope for what we were doing. And obviously you're going to see that in some of the clips. I don't know if you're going to play some of those clips, but I mean, it really just took us to a new place of, first of all, being showmen, being entertainers, being professionals. And if we had the right infrastructure, from like what Mal was, fighting for, from the sports, arts and culture, always fighting for that. Because I mean, like, you're listening to their story, and I mean, like, they actually sacrificed the shitload for all of us, and we got to commend them. So shout out to Mal and Brent and the kids as well, because they sort of we sort of got accepted into this family of like DJs. We just do whatever we want to, and however we want to, and it was crazy that that this was a kickstart for me personally to many other things. I mean, we saw a lot of things happening, like Frank becoming a videographer. John was in there from the beginning. Byron, you were playing in a band. All these kind of things, but eventually would feed off each other. I mean, even the Oaks from Pretoria, Neil, Andrew, that whole crew. Chris van der Merwe is also from Pretoria.
I think originally, yeah.
And I think he's from Orange Free State originally.
No, he's from the Free State, really? But he lived in Pretoria for those days, when everything was, when we were doing a lot of shows and stuff.
Yeah, man, it really brought us all together.
We even went, Frank, do you remember when we went out to your like RAN show kind of thing? It was like an agricultural fest, and we were out there for the weekend, and Andre and Alexi organized it, and we all came there with the B-boys, and we stayed over at your mom's B&B, and then she almost took out the gun the next day, the next morning.
It was actually Eugene who organized that whole thing. But it was quite a cool festival. It was not really a festival. It was just a competition at first, but it became, in the end, it grew so much that it was like then BMXing, skateboarding, the whole culture, the B-boys, the graffiti, that whole vibe, it became that, But that all stemmed from Mal and Brent. So, it was all what they did, basically.
It's crazy, man. And like us all being there from the beginning, you talk about how sick blading is now, and, how cool it is, like all the channels and everything. But like we were there from the beginning when all of these new tricks and new styles were like becoming the thing. Like we watched Unities become a new trick, like someone started doing it, and then everyone starts doing it, and like Farfanugans and Talks and like all of this stuff. Like we were right there at ground zero, basically, for the development.
I was sort of thinking about this over the last episodes. Like you learn a trick, like a soul grind or a foundational trick, a soul grind or Royale, and then you're like, okay, I can do this now. And it's like your mind is like, no, I must make this harder, and then do that, and then you know what I mean.
Sure.
You just slowly turn up the difficulty level for yourself with each trick, and it's like this little this puzzle in your mind that you're solving little bit by little bit.
I mean, being exposed to everything. I mean, from having like being in the space, from the music, the art. I mean, like literally like graphic design work, graffiti. That played a big role in a lot of our lives, because people would then go on to, like Toby, started making his own clothing brand. I did become a graphic designer. I studied for 2 years, but it changes your outlook like how you design a line or how you'd create a line on the street course would change your outlook on life as well. Because, like John is saying, from a soul grind, you can't just do a soul grind. It's got to be more than just a soul grind. Whether it be a 180 into a soul, then it came down to the style of the soul. I mean, there's this French dude. I don't know if you're following him, Julian. That guy does like a rail, does a rail slide and then flips out at the end. And they did and this was on a competition last year. They did. It was in a street and they blocked off the street, and it had this rail, but at the end it had like a little kick, or it had like a little like this, and just curve at the end. This guy does this. He does like a trick. He does like 2 variations, and then flips out at the end, like gymnastic shit. And just like that's not a real thing. Level. Like next level. So I mean, when you get into this whole thing, it's just like from when we were at ground zero to now, it's like we just wanted to be either in a magazine, and at the time was Daily Bread, and then they come to South Africa, and that was like our biggest highlight for rollerblading, right? And apart from the other things that's happening around, with Cliff and everybody else, first of all, Cliff getting endorsed by an international company, showing like a life that, this is possible, right?
Yes.
And I think also like the sponsorship level, like, you can actually get endorsed by international brands, even if you're from the tip of Africa. And if you're good enough, you can go see the world and, expose yourself to those kind of dynamics. I mean, I remember when after nationals, I think it was after nationals, you guys went to Germany, right? Because we had heard about the 94 nationals, and we then only entered the following year. That's when Toby went, and then he would then defend his title in 95. And, we heard like, you can actually go overseas with this, and that's like kind of like a hood dream for some of us. Like, you can actually go overseas doing rollerblading, right? And skateboarding and BMX. It's not just you have to be like a pro soccer player or be on the Olympic team or whatever the case may be, but this could be like an escape. You know what I mean? Like, this could be like something where you could take, like, you could make a name for yourself in the entire world if you've ever wanted to go there or see those kind of places. And, those are kind of the things that will play in the back of your mind, even though every day you just wanted to rollerblade. I mean, forget schoolwork, forget your assignments. I don't even know how I made out of a trick, bro, like, to be honest. Because that's just, I still wonder, like, if I had to write a matric exam right now, would I be able to actually do it, And I doubt it, But every weekend, I would do anything and everything just to get through rollerblading. Myself, Dean, and Vuyo. We even went as far. There was like this other. I don't know if you've ever been to the skate park in Edenville at this church. They built like these mega ramps, like probably the biggest. Well, not the biggest. It was
it next to the highway? Like if you came up on the highway,
the arena
on the left, the arena. That was it.
That was it.
That was
went there.
The most crazy. That was crazy, and they would open it up, and you could go do like night sessions on like a Friday night at youth. So it'll be like a youth thing, but we didn't really care. We were like, it's either go to youth or hit the skate park. And those are like kind of things that, we would just go and look for and get to like, to the most craziest skate parks. And then when it was competition, they would then travel. Then it became a different thing. I mean, the one year, 98, myself and Vuyo worked at Cross Trainer, and we were working for our train ticket to PE. And that's when the madness happened with Gaz, myself, and Byron, and Vuyo in the train. That shit was, that was crazy. That was crazy shit.
I'm so glad you brought it up, bro, because I remember Gaz was at the back drinking with the homies. He told me he's been drinking with Black Jesus, and like,
the guy was called Linky or Lanky or something like that. And it was mad because, bro, Gaz got so messed up that on that trip. Him and Graham Jackson, they hate each other to see if they can go on a moving train to climb out the one window and into the other window. We don't know at what speeds, but anyway. Gaz did it, but he was fighting in third class. And in third class, because everyone sits up straight, there's no beds, there's no like padded seating. They call it actually the church. So when you walk in there, it looks like a congregation of people sitting upright. So they call it the church, and that's, and that was wild because eventually we ended up with Mel. We're smoking with Mel. It's too late now. It already happened.
Cats out the back.
Kev was on that trip as well.
Dude, it was.
Yeah, cats out the back. Everybody was smoking. Crazy. It was mad because I actually had to confirm mom when I got back on the train. She was like, "Okay, yeah, I don't do it again." That just led to the other stuff. To the
party. Don't hang out with those boys again.
Dude, the dare battle was wild because before, Gaz won with climbing out of the train and into the other window, and Jackson wouldn't do it. But the dare before that, Jackson had first put out like a cigarette or a cigar on his tongue or something, and Gaz immediately did the same thing. So I was like, okay, now they're gonna up the ante. And fucking, he climbs out the window, and Jackson's like, "Nah, I ain't doing that." Crazy, man. But yeah,
at the caboose, we all bought pellet guns as well. That's where we were staying at the accommodation, and then one night everybody bought pellet guns and started shooting each other in the corridors. It was wild. Like it was literally just like like a boys' trip or camp out to just like the shit you see in the movies. We try to emulate all that kind of stuff. We didn't even know it was like a tour, but it was our first trip out of the city, and this is where the Joburg rollerbladers are going to PE, kicking out Wayne, the monster in that crazy bowl. Yeah, man. I mean, that's what also. Oh, by the way, you posted up a picture with Graham where he broke his tooth. In actual fact, Graham, Jackson, and Vuyo both collided with each other, and they both knocked their tooth out.
Yes, dude. I remember Vuyo was also missing his.
Some of the collisions were heavy, man.
Yeah. It was crazy. And remember, like in PE, like you couldn't really skate because the wind would actually blow you in mid-air, like completely off, like when you wanted to land or whatever, if you weren't going fast enough. But if you went too high, the wind would like blow you off, like your center of gravity and off your line, and you could easily just like screw out. And that was crazy.
Insane.
Then the following year was Cape Town. That was crazy. I think it got exciting.
That was the first century city.
Yeah, I think it got exciting when the international started coming. Yes, coming to South Africa with Aaron Feinberg and Shane Scower.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's really when stuff started, getting kind of interesting for everybody, and then the following years when Arlo came, or was that the first year in the parking lot?
The parking lot was with Aaron Feinberg and Shane Scower. I don't know if Arlo was there, but
he had come a few years before in '97.
I think
in '98 PE.
Yeah, I think Arlo pretty much came almost all of the time. He was there with Shane Scower and
was he?
Aaron Feinberg too, but I don't think he skated as much. He was just more commentating and running the whole.
Yeah.
So he came almost every year. Arlo, he loved South Africa.
It was so cool to
There was also 1 year when Angie Walton came.
Yeah.
Yes.
For Alex Grohl.
Yeah.
That's sick. Well, maybe we jump
That takes me to this.
Some of these pictures. Yeah, what you got? Oh, yes. Herman in the Daily Bread magazine.
This is the Daily Bread South Africa magazine that they covered.
What year is that, Switch?
Yep.
Shout out Herman.
This is 2001.
2001.
Yo,
but that was the first real shine South Africa had in the magazine.
Yes.
Yeah, dude. Who's that on the rail?
Yeah.
Cliff.
Yeah. Correct.
Wow.
This is Matthew Dowdle. Matthew Dowdle doing a 360 alley-oop, and then Herman Portilla. So Yo.
Back.
Yo.
Yeah.
Yo,
Realities of living in South Africa. No stress.
No worries.
Yo, it's hard. It's hard.
Now I'm trying to remember where we were at, what we were talking about.
Well, he had the magazine showing.
Yeah, the magazine.
You were about to.
Yeah, let's go.
Yeah,
to
you
the
were also
pictures.
about to show some images on the on the cliff there.
Yeah, sick. So here we got some Kailami days. Morgan busting out Royale, Kind Grind. Oh man, that sunset is perfect Kailami times.
But this was also the original cliff, wasn't it? When it was still steep and hectic.
They actually cut this rail.
Yeah, I was going to say the original went all the way to the bottom.
Right.
And was much steeper.
It did throw you into the ground a little bit. I think that's why
it was a harsh landing
at the end.
No, it was much nicer in this iteration. It was a bit more, not as steep and quite nice to come off.
Even though it looks pretty steep in these shots.
Yeah,
But
more approachable.
I mean, I try to, out of all the photos you gave us, Switch, and all the photos we have, I'm sure Mel has some really early ones, but these are kind of the earliest I could find of your early days, but I'm sure Mel has some.
Yeah, Mel definitely has.
Yeah, man, I mean,
more will come out the more we dig.
Yeah, for
well, there was
sure,
quite
man.
a few of you on the vert ramp, which I remember you were really good at skating vert, actually, where like I was not into the vert ramp at all. That it scared the heck out of me. But you were rocking that, and you must have placed on the podium a couple of times on vert.
Definitely.
Yeah, I think Frank was also in the vert games with me. I think we found out that, hey man, if you can enter the vert, you might play somewhere and win some prizes.
There's so few dudes. Yeah, I'd skate intermediate vert, I remember. And I'd just grind. I wouldn't air.
Dude, airing out of that thing was so scary.
Remember before they actually cut the vert ramp down? Yeah, it was over vert at some point. And Herman was the only guy who could skate that thing. Yeah. And then there was also the extension.
Yeah. Because getting kicked out into the middle was fucking disastrous. Like,
it's like a 10-foot drop at least if you make it to the coping, and then it's just basically flat bottoming.
And I think a lot of it is because most of us didn't want to wear pads and helmets and stuff. And like, if you really want to skate vert, you need to have knee pads, elbow pads, and a helmet. Because if you get kicked out in the middle, it's gonna suck.
Yeah. I think also, when we saw like John Bergeron skate that thing, it'd make that whole thing shake. Like it was this like robot ape just stomping it, and you just be like, what the hell? And I think when you see like, oh, that's how you're supposed to do it. That's how it's done. You know what I mean? And then when I saw Rene Holgren skate vert in Cape Town on the Red Bull ramp, then it was something totally different. Then it was like a new thing. I mean, he wasn't really a grinder kind of skater. He was just flying all the time. You know what I mean? And the Viking. And I think, the only other people who could do that was a Demo Gene and Herman. And and Wayne.
And Schmedel, actually.
And actually, Schmedel was...
Craig used to shred,
He was good at vert,
yeah. Right?
And he killed it.
There we go.
Another one.
Dude,
legendary.
I wonder if I have that issue. I need to dig through my
this is Blunt Magazine.
Blunt Magazine. I definitely don't have that.
Tour. We did the Fast. There was this chocolate called Fast Forward, and we did this tour. And we went around the country. We actually had to build this ramp ourselves, and we traveled the back of a truck. Myself, what's this dude's name again? It was annoying at some point sometimes.
The BMX rider?
It was from Boxburg. Yes, the BMX rider. Who made the cover? Let me check here.
You know, I was a bit harsh on Blunt Magazine a few episodes back, so I forgot about that little spread they did on rollerblading there. I'll give them a little bit of credit.
Yeah, but
I'm sure that was before they fully betrayed us.
In actual fact, they've done quite a bit on rollerblading.
Rollerblading was at the time so big they had to include us.
So they did like a bit of definitely. I think also it's when we started doing the X Games, when Mal included all the riders and we did X Games, they didn't have a choice but to get involved. Is this thing frozen again? Or you're here?
Yeah, we got you.
You are here. You just look so static.
Listening.
We're good listeners, dude.
Blink if you're still here.
But yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
so I think they started in. Yeah.
Sorry.
I think
on time. Go ahead, Switch.
Yeah, Dubai X Games.
Okay, we got photos of those to go through. I'm very excited to talk to you about that. Bro, it came up on my Facebook memories. That was the first time we went was 18 years ago to Dubai. 18 years. Mad. But anyway, we'll get there.
That's crazy.
The time has flown. Early days of breaking.
2000? Yo!
6 and 7. But yeah, this is in the 90s. I think we were still in high school here. I'm not. Is that you or Vokes on the left? That's you, Morgs, on the left.
That's Vokes.
That's me on the left. Yeah.
Yeah.
On the left. Yeah.
Folks.
And then
O2 is on the right.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think this is at the Kyle Army vet ramp.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is the Kyle Army.
And then Herman, Earl Carly West. There's Dean.
Yeah.
I see Toby and Ben in the back. Ryan Campbell.
There's Ryan Campbell.
Is that Darren McGill on the right?
On the right is Darren McGill.
Yes, dude.
Gareth Thomas sitting in front of him. Leith. All the old boys from high school.
That's Herman in the green as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, because back in these days, I mean, we just started like breaking and we'd go out to the hip hop clubs like Beehive or whatever it was. And we would be listening to hip hop and like dancing in random places and getting in
Morgan's
fights.
Cat.
Yeah.
Morgan's Cat was the other one.
Thursday night Pooza.
But I think at this time,
I think also,
go for it, Switch.
Sorry, John. I think, but I think it will come with the other photos that I sent, and it's gonna just sort of show the impact that this sport had and how much we attracted the masses, in terms of what we had was so unique and, exciting that when we did cross-pollinate with all the disciplines, it was the culture at its purest. There was it wasn't about the gram or anything, but if we did have it then, I think it would be something else. Or Facebook, even Facebook then, it would be something totally different. Our competitions would have been like the overseas competitions. I mean, I think there's only a few riders that really do like exhibition, like those brothers from Japan. Those guys are still ripping, like brothers.
Yeah. It was definitely a spectacle. Like there would be hundreds of people at the Rand show all crowded around watching. And I remember South African crowds like really don't get into it. They just kind of stand there and stare like, what is going on? But yeah, certainly a spectacle.
Yeah, that's true.
I think also what this sort of time fostered or encouraged was involvement. It wasn't just like, I'm going to watch you do that. And yes, you would, and you would appreciate, but it was kind of, there was always an open invite to get involved. Like no matter what level you were, you were, it was an open door for you to step in and express yourself, whether it was through graph, breaking, rapping, DJing. So everyone was just involved. You were a spectator and a participant. It was amazing.
Correct.
And it was so cool. But yeah, I remember trying to learn to breakdance and just like breaking myself and being like, that's why it's breakdancing. Pure hip hop.
Yeah, I think at the time you were also into kung fu at the time.
Yeah, dude. So we're definitely trying to get physical with it.
Yo, look at this.
So I think this is one of the first Alex Grohl Cups. Must be 99 or 98. Huh?
This is the one in the mall, the first one in the mall.
Correct. You did.
I'm guessing like 2003,
Mm.
maybe 2002, 2003.
Morgan,
Earlier,
I still did we entered doubles in breakdancing.
Duo or some shit.
Yeah, duo or something.
Yeah. 2-on-2 vibes.
And that's you on the linoleum there, Switch?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, amazing crowds. Ready D on the decks.
The music was always so hype.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's fucking great.
You know what's crazy is that, migrating from migrating from the sport into the culture, like, breaking and then DJing, at some point, you kind of stop because your body can't take any more beating, from the rollerblading to the breaking, and you just gotta decide what's it gonna be now, because every weekend you got a roasty somewhere, you look like you've been in a fight, and in the meantime you just had a fight with a rail or a ramp or something, and
yeah, dude. And if you're trying to become a DJ, like breaking your finger is going to be a huge fucking setback. And so what was Ready D the inspiration? Like, when did you start DJing and getting into that?
So when I left high school, I started studying at Boston Media House, and then I started work. So I got a job as a graphic designer, and I always kept it in the back of my mind that as much as it's so much fun doing all these kind of cool stuff like rollerblading, breaking, you want to start putting money in your pocket, and I got a taste of that when I did the downhill extreme with myself, Cliff, and Herman, and Toby.
Yes.
That was the first time I experienced an endorsed flight by Red Bull. And we went down with Red Bull, and that was kind of cool. I didn't know what I was in for. And Mel was like a hustler. She was just like, just do it anyway. You'll figure it out when you get there, type thing, And we were trying to grow the sport and dive in. And we get down and we did, what is that snake road at the back of Lion's Head?
Oh, dude.
Kloof Neck.
Yeah.
Kloof Neck.
Yeah. Bro, that was crazy to see the level of this competition with there's this skate. It's called a luge, I think it is.
Yes.
Where dudes lay on this board and they go down this hill and they're doing hairpin bends, dudes on rollerblades, dudes on skateboards, and I was like, what is this? And that was crazy, but we actually had to jump on these Rocies that were big wheel Rocies. I don't know what we had at the time. It was Rome or something like that. And speed skates, to make it down the hill. And then there was these other dudes on speed skates, but they had full on 5 wheels in spandex, speed helmets, and we these aggressive dudes with baggy shorts.
Everything.
We myself, Herman, we're just gonna gun this, and Herman and Cliff, we're just gonna gun this hill. Whatever happens. We go for it, and it was crazy because it was it was wild. But evolving from that to doing the breakdancing and DJing, I was just man, I want to stay in this, but I gotta see how I can make $1 out of nothing. Gotta make a rand out of something, and we started getting involved with the breaking, and I started doing shows, and with the shows we had done from rollerblading, I started finding my way around the entertainment industry, and I was just sort of watching Mel, and I was learning everything, and this has allowed me to sort of just start crafting my own events, from speaking at all the rollerblade competitions and emceeing those, I then started the 2-on-2 b-boy battles. And from the b-boy battles, I was already DJing at the time, but this sort of helped me grow like sort of like an income from doing what I love. And and that's just sort of like, so basically just School of the Hard Knocks with my graphic design diploma, I could then build my own company and start. At one time, I actually wanted to start a magazine called Theorem 248, like 2 wheels BMX and rollerblades and a skateboard on 4 and 8 wheels for rollerblades. And I wanted to start this magazine because, I think blunt was sort of phasing out, and the digital era was sort of coming in, and it was easy just to start doing stuff like that. But once again, that required money, required time. We needed photographers, and it was just like, man, and I was sort of inspired because at the time, I think John, you were filming a lot, and you guys were filming for African Link. I remember you had that red and white Canon that you would move around with, and it was just dope to see. For me, I was just excited to see, like, here's some individual, like young dudes just doing their own thing, like, and they're doing it because they want to do it, not because they're forced to. And you just kept on collecting a lot of footage and, going to skate parks every week. I mean, at that time, we didn't have like a WhatsApp, yo, meet us at this spot, or, that kind of thing, because those things would have been easier to communicate with, And I think, it's, the evolution is, once again, we were at the ground and we were first movers, compared to now, it's something totally different. And I think, a lot of individuals from this sport found themselves, whether they're musicians like Cliff and was it Daryl, right?
Yeah.
Cliff and Daryl were going to become Bro Kings. They were going to get signed to Get a Rough because, already they thought, that was a good thing to get them involved. They were going to be signed by Get a Rough.
I didn't know that.
And then obviously Cliff also then went on and to perform. Yep. And then he went to go perform on with Tomorrow Day with Flash Republic.
That's
right. I saw him 1 year at H2O actually. So that was kind of cool. So I mean, there was a pocket for everybody, like within the sport, and how this would open up doors for so many people. And we'd kind of learn like, oh, this is what growing up is all about, type shit, because my mom didn't really care what I was doing as long as I was just staying out of trouble. I wasn't going to jail or anything, then it was all good. You know what I mean? But when it started growing something, and it was crazy because when we did find our pockets, one thing I realized, like within the sport, every rollerblader had their time, like blooming, like just like when Cliff and B were when you were at your peak and you were going up against our number one in South Africa, then it was just like, oh, like this is a highlight. We're seeing this is B's time right now. Just like when John came out, I remember John, when I met him first, he was skating on K2s, I think, at once.
Nah, never had K2s.
There was a friend you were with, a tall, lanky dude, I think it was, but maybe, and I think also, John had his time and Frank had his time, and everybody would have their time, just like when Matt then bloomed and Matt was doing 900s, which is like, and we were just like, okay, the sport is getting pushed, and if people have their peaks, and you got to notice when that happens. I was speaking about when my friends were up on podium in our first skate competition. The following year, I went home so pissed off because we had to still travel back home, in the same with nothing. Car, and I was just like, yeah, with nothing, bro. In actual fact,
next year I'm taking it. Oh, dude, what?
And I was just like, yeah. And then the following year, I went from, and then I was like, well, I'm still beginner. And then it was just like, nah, I'll just enter beginner. And they're like, no, you can't enter beginner, have to enter intermediate. And then they bumped me all the way up into advanced. And that's when sort of rollerblading really, really meant something to me, where it's like, I work for something, because when you like learn the art of like discipline, dedication, these kind of things that people don't teach you or teach you in your home, you're learning it from other people. And you can only learn it from you seeing like how, whether it be the clothing, learning to be disciplined and going to a skate park every week to practice a move. And it's simple things, really, putting in the work. And this is sort of like, it sets you up for life, because you think about it, we were actually like, we're like kids taking these hard knocks, not crying about it. So you kind of like become, it's like Boys to Men type, shit.
You get up and do it again.
You know what I mean? Like,
you take a hit, you do it again.
You got to learn, like, you got to do it over and over and over and over and over until you really, really get it right. I think the one thing we just didn't understand was, the pro setups, like before competition, maybe, change up your wheels, your setups. And we've seen like Cliff and Herman do this a couple of times, but at that time they were on the endorsement. So you just think like, yo, man, we're not just getting free wheels out here every week. You know what I mean?
But dude, that's such an amazing point, because you're talking about how it turned into a career for you. And I think for a lot of us, the lessons from skating and like having a vision and then the grit and determination to keep at it until you get there is something that like school doesn't teach you. Like you've got to keep at it and keep going and keep trying to make progress incrementally to get towards your goals. And like skating was a massive teacher, I think, for all of us in that respect.
Yeah, as far as that self-drive as well, because no one is going to, no one is forcing you to do it again, and
you either wanted it or you didn't.
That first time trying a trick was always the scariest thing. You'd be like, you didn't land it, but okay, first one's done. The next time's going to be a little bit easier, And I suppose that mentality does apply to many things.
Yeah, definitely. And I actually want to ask you a question. And my question is, when you were at your peak in rollerblading, how did that make you feel? Like, what sort of feeling did you have when
Bro, I think I didn't understand. I think I didn't understand the concept just as yet. I always consider myself as a late bloomer, like, because I'm still a kid and the only thing we want to be is the Aaron Feinbergs of the world. You know what I mean? Like, travel the world and live off rollerblading and being featured in magazines. First of all, trying to get featured in Daily Bread, getting endorsements and saying, well, if I can make a career out of this, then I'm kind of set, which means I don't have to go work a job. And I think the camaraderie was just more the excitement of anything. But also when you're in your peak, you just feel like you can accomplish any rail, you can do any obstacle. It becomes almost like you sort of decipher the skate park. You know what I mean? You can decipher a handrail. You can put it in your mind and be like, no, I can hit this with all the techniques I've learned right now. I can know how to approach a rail. I know how to do certain things differently, which means like you in your pro era, because you've done all the work, you've done all the practice, you've fallen enough times. So you kind of know how to approach, certain obstacles a little bit differently. I mean, if you look at, I don't know if you've ever watched the Formula One, Drive to Survive, those guys are drivers from like 5 years old for the rest of their lives, right? It just and for them to be driving like a multi-million-dollar car, right, race car, and crash it every week, but the endorsements are cool to replace it. It takes some sort of level of like commitment to or belief in the driver, just as you would have a belief in yourself. And doing these kind of things, just put me on a level. I just wanted to do more. And eventually, at some point, you know what I mean? I think also getting like a pair of skates was all just like, I've made it. I'm now here, and now it's like, it's go time. I've got to produce. I've got to show up, because you're not just getting a pair of 3,000 rand skates for nothing. You know what I mean? So the pressure then escalates, because now you got to really perform when you're doing a show, when you at contest. And that's all the things, because now your friends become your enemies at the competition, right? In a good way, you know what I mean? And I think that's the competitiveness would give you an edge for the future of your life, to make sure that you're always excelling. You know what I mean? So I mean, so even when you do leave the sport, you've learned lessons that nobody else can ever teach you, and because you've now competed at a level of excellence, and being on podiums, like for you to stand on a podium, get some prize money, win a PlayStation. Jeez, that was one of the prizes I won as well.
Sick.
And then push yourself to the limit, breaking your mindset, sets sets you up for things that are about to happen. You know what I mean? So in some way, it's divine intervention that you've been set on this path, and that's kind of cool. I mean, up till today, we're seeing like Chris Edwards. You entered this whole street competition as well, and homie's jumping, and who was the other dude that also came South Africa from the USD team? He's like some judo taekwondo guy.
Not Jaron Grove.
The monster.
Jaron Grove.
Jaron Grove. He still skates.
Right.
He's still doing shows.
Yes.
He still does shows. Rashad Johnson still does stuff. I mean, that guy does a lot of filming. I follow him, and it's crazy because we've met these people in person. It's like meeting, we fanboys on the day when you actually see them skate, you're like, oh shit, like one trick a day, that's what he does.
Sick.
And it's cool to see it, and it's cool to see that these people are still involved and they're still making a living of what they love from back then, 20 years later. You know what I mean? It's crazy, but everything that I've learned within the skate park and in that realm and people as well has sort of evolved to today.
And those dudes are giving back,
Frank.
Rashad's got a production company, and I know he does a lot of automotive filming and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
But that one trick a day is purely a passion project, really. I'm sure he's not making a lot of cash from it, but he gives back. He organizes sessions. So it just keeps that spark alive, for other people.
Yeah.
More from Alex Grohl.
Sick setup on the DJ decks and some of the graffiti going on the top right. I remember that you're right, John. 2001, there was the sickest graph that went up all around that building. It was super dope.
I've always wanted to ask you, did you ever go into the graph side of hip hop?
I just tried it out. It was just too much work.
It was
you
also
can't do
expensive,
everything.
man.
You can just try like a couple of.
And you can
exactly.
get locked up.
I know Byron and John. You guys are bombing a lot.
Yeah, I got quite involved.
Yeah, and Garrett.
Yeah.
Garrett.
I think
Garrett and Matt.
Garrett. I think the one wall I did was with the passing of Gaza. That was the only wall I did, and I think I was like, nah, I'm good. I got it out of my system.
Yeah, man, it was hard work, and then you'd like, it wasn't easy to do either. You had to get so used to like how the cans sprayed, and paying money for cans, and then you like mess up your piece, and you're like, oh man, fuck. Here's some Rand show shots we got going on here.
Yeah. And just as, this is kind of when we started combining the B-boys into the sort of wheel show, if you want to call it that. Morgs, I see you jumping over. I'm not sure who you're jumping over there, but the wheel show.
Launching probably 540 or 360 or something.
That's Vokes and Versatile.
Yeah. And I think Clayton on the right, under Frank.
Doing a 540 over chopsticks.
Chopsticks, yeah. Now, I remember this was 2003, and we, like, as the guys doing the shows, we were doing 3 shows a day, and it was 20 days in a row. And I remember by the end of it, we were just fucking exhausted, man. It was so hectic driving to the Nasrec every day, fucking 3 shows a day, drive home, do it again the next day. It took a toll on us. I think it was heavy.
And there'd be a comp on top of that as well, I think.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Some of the years, maybe in the later years, it was the contest as well.
I think you're right. There was definitely a comp in this year, like on top of 3 shows a day. Like it was a lot of skating, man. And I think, but it was super cool because you could see like quite a big crowd in the back there, and like the later shows in the day would have tons of people around watching.
Yeah.
I think when we moved from this, so in the image number 1, we were on the big field, and then in the second image, we're more inside, close to the exhibition hall. Yes. So
exactly right.
So when I think I sent you an image there or something. I think Volks was there or something where we're sort of doing a move, and you can just see the crowds. Like you said, people didn't understand at the time, and it was just for them. It's just like these people are just nuts. Like they mental crazy
from another planet. Yeah.
Yeah.
What are they doing?
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, that's the crowd right there.
I mean, I wanted to talk about the 2-on-2 b-boy battles because that was your project, really. I mean, that was your conception, and you ran with that, and it kind of birthed out of these little sessions that would happen at the skate park, right? So maybe tell us a bit about how that all came about.
This was 100% correct. I think, once again, it goes back to the mythology of like, you do what you love, but if you do it for the rest of your life, you'll never, you'll never work a day in your life ever again. And, I wanted to change this into something, just as much. I just took the idea from the rollerblading because I've been a part of it, and then just sort of infused it here and had these things. And we started building these communities, and, we said, well, we don't have enough crews, so let's narrow the crews down and just make it bigger by having 2-on-2, so you have multiple crews. So, just take the 5 crews and you divide that down by 2 each. Well, then, then they get to go up against each other, and then just sort of, bring a new element because the music was already there. So, and, the acrobatics of the moves was also there. So it was one in the same thing, really. So everything looked kind of extreme. Guys spinning on their heads, guys doing flips on rollerblades, on BMXs, on skateboards. And now it's so once again, it's just the definition of what the human body can really do, whether it be on an apparatus or whether it be just yourself. So this just sort of we birthed this at Rivonia Hall, and there was 2, the one at the bowling club, and then it moved up to Rivonia Hall, and we were charging 5 rand in 2003 to enter this competition. and then eventually, because we wanted to get some sort of remuneration and add towards prize money, then we started charging $20. And then after that, it sort of became like a national thing. We went into doing like solo, individual battles, which is 1-on-1s, and we're giving away like 15,000 rand there. And then eventually the Red Bull BC one came to South Africa. And then the Red Bull BC one came to South Africa, and then the rest is history. So Volks is still active doing this. There's an event happening. I don't know when this will air, but there's something happening in Cape Town on the 18th. It's called Undisputed, and we still do some of these events. So we've got this joint event called the Solo Pro Africa, which is basically to try and crown the number 1 b-boy in Africa over and above the Red Bull BC one.
Amazing, bro.
Yeah.
So we kind of like just understood the dynamics, and obviously partnering up with Ready D, keeping the culture there. So bringing like OGs and new school guys, and just sort of passing on the knowledge to other artists, so forth. Now it's birthed into many, many things, but still keeping within the culture. And, this was just learning how to speak to endorsements and, for them to bring the money to the party. And I really then understood how difficult of a job Mel had at the time for people to go and to pitch an idea and for them to believe in it. You know what I mean? And we just sort of, did a copy and paste kind of model. And today we're still going on. And we had ran these competitions for now also for 20 years.
Wow.
Respect. That's incredible. And like, as you say, just like a newer format of what we were already seeing, but it was a way of like building up the community and the competition. And it's just like, but long may it may continue, because it's so rad.
Yeah.
And I think for the audience coming to these events, there was always something happening. If it wasn't the skating, it was the breaking, the painting. There was always something to watch. And I mean, you can see how many people would gather when this was going down, you know?
Yeah. I think more because we created a spectacle. There's always a spectacle more than anything else. We were really, I mean, we really were the show, you know? Like, from whether it be in South Africa, like this was the LG show at Kyalami, on the right-hand side here. Yeah, these are the shows that we did at Kyalami, at the LG show. The year before that, it was at the Dome, I think it was.
Yes,
because there was 2 LG shows we did, and then you know, it was a spectacle, and that's what really made like the XASA like a factor to be reckoned with, and that's why, you know, the shows started becoming a lot bigger, more exciting. I don't know if you're going to play some of those clips I sent you of back in the day when we were really like just putting it all together, and it was just more like a freestyle show more than anything else.
That's true. I also remember, geez, bro, like even at Kyalami in the peak of the competitions, the b-boy scene grew dramatically there, you know.
Yeah.
And a lot of the guys,
100%.
even rollerbladers, started breakdancing, you know. We were all battling in the b-boy battles and then skating in the comps. It was crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, the crowds here are just sick. And there's the PS2 talking about, like, I remember Matt winning one of those one year and in the rollerblading competition, and it's just, as you say, like getting sponsors to get on board for, you know, spending their budget on marketing essentially, and the spectacle was pretty good marketing, I suppose, at least for a while. Yeah, and now we're jumping forward a bit. I think, is this Dubai X Games?
Yeah, so I think we went twice. We went 2006 and 2007. Is this the second year? I put these together just to kind of show the street course, and then Morgan's posted up in the DJ stand there. And it was a bit of a weird setup because we weren't a part of the X Games. We were demo shows between the actual X Games competition, which I didn't fully understand. Like, I wanted to skate in the X Games contest. I didn't really want to be the sideshow, you know what I mean? But,
well, you know, you need a fluffer to keep it going between.
I suppose that's what we were. But I mean, a sick
I think
crew,
also, you know,
and I mean, good sponsor. I mean, you can see it was a proper stage that we were on there, you know?
Yeah. I think, John, just to elaborate, the first year, we're there for 2 weeks.
Yeah, man.
And the morning of that our trip, actually, I had an accident. I flipped my car.
Oh, dude.
In Dubai?
No. In South Africa.
Okay.
And this was so crazy. This was actually gonna be, I think, my first or second overseas trip, like an international trip. The other trip I went for holiday. I went on a Kentucky trip, and this was like, damn, this is all expenses paid type thing, and I'm getting paid to be there,
and you get paid,
type thing, you know. Yeah, you know. So this was this. I don't know if this was the third or second show, because eventually the budget started decreasing and the time we were there was shorter.
Yeah, the second year I think was shorter, yeah.
And then, but we had two, okay, so the first one was the long one where there was nobody. The second one is where there was everybody, and we kind of stole the show because everybody was more, we were almost tangible, we were almost believable to touch compared to the FMX that was happening, because the FMX that were going off, they had like this big crowds, and in actual fact, this was sort of becoming, this was pre I think F1 time, because eventually Dubai was starting to get attractions around this time of the year, and eventually F1 started coming afterwards. So X Games was kind of a highlight at this time, and we would actually thought, like you said, we thought we were going to be part of the X Games, and we were just a sideshow. We were literally just
sideshow.
Yeah,
but
go check out those guys from Africa.
We were cheap labor. But but for real, do you remember? I mean, we had that bus, Eunice. Remember our bus driver, Eunice?
Yeah.
So there's actually, I did an edit on this trip. It's on my YouTube page if anyone ever wants to check that. But when we
drop the link below. Drop the link below.
Yeah. So when we'd we'd drive all day in the bus, and we did demos all around Dubai and Abu Dhabi and all over. And I remember it was at a lot of the universities, I think the American universities.
Yeah.
And when we rolled up in that bus, the crowds would go crazy. Like I remember the crowd swarming the bus, like hitting the windows.
What?
And they didn't know who we were, bro. We weren't like Tony Hawk or Matt Hoffman, or we were just like, they were just excited for something different. And we were from overseas. They probably assumed we were all American or something. But I mean, the hype was crazy. I mean, you remember. And there was about 20 of us. So we were like a gang on ourselves. Such a great trip. Yeah.
And that's sick.
Bro, also, geez. The nights we went out, we couldn't really go out and go and drink anywhere. And we had to hustle with Eunice actually, organize us drinks with these other Pakistani guys, because in Dubai, it was the plug, because in Dubai, you'd have to have a license. You have to earn some sort of income in order to buy alcohol. So, because it was forbidden, and you could only do this behind closed doors. And when we stayed in Dubai, we're staying like in the hill, bro, the ghetto of fucking Dubai. Yo, there's prostitutes everywhere, type shit. And we would eat these like 2 dirham shawarmas, and you get like a Pepsi for 1 dirham. They were. And so we were the first trip we also had Buddy chilling. He's here playing the guitar. Chris van der Merwe, you can see there.
George van Black.
Yes.
Steve Craig.
And it's like Steve Craig there. Chopsticks, Versatile. So obviously all the B-boys were there. So
yeah, we'd like sort of in the back alley buy us a few bottles of booze from some locals, and then go back to our hotel room, which is what's happening on the left there, and everyone's having a little bit of a celebration. And then I think on the right was a shisha bar, so no alcohol, fruit juice only, and like video games. And
hookah.
And hookah, shisha.
So it's Morgs, Herman, myself, Steve Crick, Chris van der Merwe, said Will Twala,
William Twala,
Buddy, and I think Eric.
That's Versatile. Yeah.
No, good times, man. And Roll One was going strong at this point as well. Like Steve and Chris were kind of our, they were going to be the ones. They were the stars, Yeah, me and Holmes were starting to be the old guard at this point already.
They were killing it at that time, and we were starting to chill it out.
Massive, dude. Some of the street skating that those two did in Dubai, it's in that Dubai edit. Insane stuff, like big double kink drop rails, massive. Just so talented, man.
Yeah, so hungry for it. They were in the
were hungry, exactly. Yeah.
I think also Stephen Crick's style was so different. He could do everything so easy, like he spins.
Like laid back.
Yeah, he was such a laid back skater, bro. Like, it was so unbelievable. You guys remember who is this other skater from Cape Town who said he could take on everybody?
Tristan.
And he was Tristan.
Free flow.
I got it.
Of course.
I got him at this. I got him a couple of years ago at in Cape Town. He works in the pirate ship, and it's a full-on pirate with these gold grills.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've ever come across him, but you should.
I haven't yet. But...
So the career prospect for Frankie Morales lookalike is pirate roleplay.
I definitely. By the way, have you seen what Frankie Morales did? His own signature skate, the Gods Company.
Oh, yeah. Gods, yeah.
Yes, and he's having the Frankie Morales international comp, and Chris Edwards he was there too.
Yeah.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah. FML, I think. FMI.
Yeah.
FMI, I think it is Frankie Morales Invitational.
Yeah.
Is that Takeshi?
Yeah, it's one of the Yasutoka brothers. And yeah, on the left. And I'm not sure if this is the first or the second year, but the pics obviously on the left was we were all watching the proper X Games happen. I mean, that vert ramp was
huge.
Yeah.
No, it's
insane scale.
It doesn't look the same like you see it on TV. That's the thing.
Yeah, it's way bigger.
It's a totally different kind of atmosphere when you're there, and when you see like the air, like these guys really get, especially like on a skateboard. Never mind the rollerblading, but on a skateboard, it's huge. But yeah, to see like one of these Takeshi brothers, it's like nothing to them. They do it with so much ease. Like, and obviously, once again, the technology that they had, I mean, they were skating on some crazy 1,000 ABAC bearing type stuff,
Mad speed.
Big ass wheel.
They were flying, bro. And just like huge. I can't remember what that flip is called. He does this mad laid out backflip 540. Just insane.
I think it's like a flat spin or California roll. I think he used to have that.
Yeah. That's his signature.
Oh, that was wild.
I didn't even know what that is, to be honest. I don't know if it's a spin and a flip.
Yeah, you don't know what it is.
It's a huge flat spin that he does, and mid-air he corkscrews in it.
Yeah.
Crazy amounts, and then
so sick.
And then you met Matt Hoffman.
Lingo,
that was the gymnastic lingo. Then we were at the Jumeirah Beach Hotel where the superstars were staying while we were staying in Hillbrow. And they invited us to come and meet them.
Yeah, it was that ESPN dinner we went to. These pictures.
We'll give you a little perk.
Yeah, do you want to run us through those, Switch? I remember the atmosphere that the South Africans had there, though. Everyone knew who we were, and just the chias was like mad high. Like everyone knew who we were there. We were a big crew to attend an event like this, especially. It was quite fancy. And
was that Fabiola?
Yeah, so that's with Fabiola de Silva, and then the bottom one's there with Rick Thorne, who I think was emceeing the X Games at the time.
Correct.
And who's bottom left in that picture with Fabiola?
I don't know who that is. I think
some
he's an ESPN.
random
photo bomb.
Okay, metal guy. Thanks for jumping.
It's more from Dubai.
Yeah, I remember I didn't get my luggage for like 2 days.
Oh, dude.
On this trip, and I was struggling. I remember.
What?
Yeah, and then it eventually arrived. But this was the first trip.
That's rough, man, because it must have been super hot there. So you're wearing the same clothes for 2-3 days in a row.
Sweating. We're African, but we're not built for this desert vibe.
Different heat.
No, the heat there is next level, man. Everything's got to be air conditioned. The buildings and stuff. It's crazy hot there.
I just had to include that one on the far right there. I thought it was hilarious.
The tree hugging hippies. Your Bucks is creasing at that one.
And Will Swallow, I found some more pictures. I didn't include them in the stack, but there was a picture of myself and Will, and we had like 5 or 6 cases of Mountain Dew and Pepsis and shit. Do you remember, Morgs? We used to go to the local cafe and sell them to the cafe. So they were given to us by our sponsor as like, here's cool drinks for the trip. And we'd take like 10 cases down to the little corner cafe and sell it to the dudes there and put cash in our pockets.
I don't know. I wasn't part of those dealings, bro.
That was my room.
It's the hustle. It's the hustle, baby.
The hustle room.
Well, we didn't want 100 cool drinks. We're like, no, that's cash, bro. That's like a Durham McCann or whatever it was.
I gotta move this product.
Dealing. In actual fact, on this Dubai trip, we created our own trick with chopsticks doing a head spin, and we'd have Will Twala swap his skateboard in mid-air, which we only landed it at the rancho. We only landed it at the rancho, but he had done everybody was doing like tricks over chopsticks. But Will wanted to do this skateboard swap over a head spin. And we were the only people who could do it. And eventually these guys, just like I think we'd always see, after that X Games, we'd see a migration of bringing all these kind of cultural things into the international events. So you'd see all the graffiti, you'd see the breaking, you'd see DJs at the event, I don't know, we could have been the pioneers of it, but we really did create something unique and special, especially for the extreme show,
Yeah.
Found this one over here.
That's the one.
Yo, get them there.
One. May as well. Yeah, we share the room.
Gotta move this product. That's so funny.
I remember one year Switch. I think I was not very popular after this evening, but I think I took the combi that Red Bull gave us, and I went to visit a friend without realizing in the evening and staying over, but without realizing all your DJ gear was in the back.
Ooh.
Was it yours or was it Mel's? But the van got broken into down in Cape Town. It got smashed out the back window, and they jacked the DJ.
That wasn't mine. That wasn't mine.
Oh, the Roll One gear.
Oh, that was
the Roll One gear got stolen. The DJ equipment.
That was in Cape Town. That wasn't mine.
Yo, dude.
I hope she was worth it, John.
Melon bread.
That was the last time. I think it was Red Bull's sound equipment. And I think that
it might have been Red Bull's.
Yeah, sponsored us.
It is the last time.
Oh,
I mean, there were other factors to that.
Thanks, John.
Oh, dude. We drove back from Cape Town in that van with the open window the entire way to Joburg.
Yeah. And then we hit that concrete block in the Karoo.
Tire blowout.
Tire as well.
In the middle of the night. Tire blowout. Changing the tire. Broken window. Oaks are trying to sleep. Just wind.
So we returned that thing to the rental car parking lot, and it was just looked like it had been through a war zone. And sorry, Red Bull. We did our best.
We love you, Red Bull.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
I thought it was your gear, so I'm glad it wasn't.
No. I think that's crazy telling me the story, because we had this idea from what we saw on the movies that if you got a rental and you returned it like fucked up, it's all good. It doesn't really matter. You know what I mean? Because do you remember Aaron and Shane? They hired scooters, and they were messing. They were crashing them in the parking lot because they were drunk one day. They were wrecking them, and they were just like, "Oh, how much does it cost? Oh, $5,000 or some stupid amount like that, or I don't know what the price was at the time, but they just didn't really care.
5,000 rand.
Yeah, 5,000 Rand was like $100,
exactly.
so they were good.
Yeah. They were like, whatever.
Yeah.
Mad.
Oh, man.
Crazy.
Yeah, I think that's a good. I think the question, you asked me, Frank, earlier on, what was the peak in your guys' career? Like, when did you know, like, I'm fucking the shit up right now?
Dude, I think it was more. There was multiple peaks in not only skating but in individuals' careers. I think I had a peak when I was like 16, 17, when I was started doing those bios, and I was hitting podiums and going overseas. And then I think I kind of faded away a bit, and I peaked again. Like, I think I was doing corkscrew 7s and 900s and stuff.
Yeah, Frank, definitely.
In competitions, and a lot of true spin grinds down the rails and like crazy stuff. And that was way after that. You know,
I mean, I think maybe as a sort of group, when Roll One was its strongest, and we had like the whole crew wearing Roll One shirts, plus we had a team we were trying to develop, plus we were running contests. I felt like, well, for me, that's when I got a lot more involved and also more comfortable skating contests. But I think we're filming a lot. We had like a purpose. We were filming for this video, so everyone like brought their A game. And
trying to get your clips.
Yeah, I think that sort of felt like a bit of a peak for me, like maybe the Monsters in the Dark video, and that after that it kind of started tapering off as far as there was less shows, less competitions, guys were starting to move into careers and that sort of thing. So maybe like late 2000s, I think, maybe 2010, around there.
Yeah, I think so. And during that time, like that whole decade, probably from 98 to 2008, there was a lot of ebbs and flows, and it was always like incremental progress, but then you would go through periods of really being comfortable and like on your game, and then sometimes injuries or whatever else would happen, personal things would put you like, I don't know, down a little bit, and then you'd kind of like work it back and get that hunger to get back up there. And but yeah, that decade I would say was sort of the peak in general for the whole scene, maybe.
Yeah. I was looking this morning, 2004 was the last time rollerblading was in the X Games. So they removed it for 2005. And we released Stereotype in 2005. And I remember there was like a sense of like, fuck you, you know what I mean? Like, why are we now excluded from this? There was a lot of, anger towards, like, why us? There's like fucking Oaks on skis shooting, like the most random sports, there were some really weird ones in the X Games, and something that felt quite quite
it seemed
established.
Targeted. Yeah,
it was quite established. It was on par with skateboarding and BMX, and suddenly, no, just this one, you're out, so I think a lot of our videos and a lot of our mentality and attitude at the time was quite like angry and kind of proving a point in a way, like fuck you, we'll do this with or without you type of thing.
Well, did Barely Dead also come out in 2005, like after that whole decision about the X Games?
It was in that time for sure.
It was around there, and that definitely put a lot of it into our words, I would say. And in terms of like how betrayed rollerblading felt by it, and how it seemed to be this sort of targeted thing, because as you say, there was a lot of variation in the X Games, and so why specifically are you getting rid of this thing? Well, it's because you don't like it, like the powers that be in that situation. It was a power play of like, we don't like this thing and we don't want to give them any kind of support.
Yeah.
So, which is their decision to make, but yeah.
Sure.
It's just crazy
I mean, if you look at some of the...
Go ahead, Switch.
But I mean, look at today. I mean, if you look at like online, if you look at today, like the contests are crazy that's happening overseas. Like John Julio, you know, the fact that he was a prominent figure in the skating community, you know, and I mean, only a few people could do this really. I mean, he was always known for style and being so innovative with his skating, and is stuck to rollerblading for all his life. And has, you know, started a skate company, Them Skates. And obviously we see Frankie Morales. In actual fact, Frankie Morales, I think he's one of the few that has a gold medal from the X Games. And then of course they started their own initiatives. And I think that's just sort of continued, you know. I think Chris had his own skate park. I think, you know, Roll One did have like street contests when we were down in Cape Town, which was also like at the climax of everything. And obviously to do everything from South Africa costs too much money, whether it be clothing, whether it be importing skates, you know, even to have like the dude from Fishbrain, what was his name again? Sebastian. You know, just getting the word out there, those kind of things. And obviously to, you know, just to have someone like a Clifford or Herman represent us, you know, from the African continent was such a schlep. It was such a mission just to have those kind of things. And you know, for us to keep it going was also about, you know, then again, our skate parks like sort of closing down. And, you know, you know, once again, the animosity was there and people wouldn't allow, or there would only be certain sessions, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But, you know, I still think that, you know, our community was also we had a really great community, and I think we can still revive the community. Obviously, you're seeing the guys in Cape Town from Lido Skate Shop. They're doing something cool. And it's just a matter of like, you know, we can revive that in South Africa. It's just a matter of, you know, getting everybody together, and if they still feel the same way about it, just like Mal still feels the same way about it. And, you know, we got to give her like those, you know, the props for carrying all of us, you know, you know, through her journey and, you know, their family's journey. You know, if people are still, if whoever watches this, if you want to start it up, it's easy to do it. I know John and Herman, you guys skate quite a bit out of Battery Park.
I mean, that would be an exaggeration, but there's lots of sessions happening down here all the time. Darren Costa, Dylan, but there's more of a scene down here. There's a WhatsApp group you can join. You can definitely stay in the know about what's happening and join sessions at any time. I'm not sure what's happening in Joburg.
Lloyd's also a big guy still skating here, and yeah, there's a couple of guys that from Cape Town that come out to the sessions, and so it's quite big. Yeah, it's much bigger than Joburg, I'd say.
Yeah, and I think that's because of the skate park situation. Probably like there's a couple of skate parks here, but I don't know if any are as popular as the ones in Cape Town, or you know, there's just a better scene down there. But yeah, I guess it's. It needs to kind of bring it back.
People are just more motivated here to skate, I'd say. I mean, when I was up in Joburg still before I moved down to Cape Town, I was skating a lot, and a lot of it was by myself. There was a couple of dudes that made sessions with me, but mostly I skated on my own. I skated with Eugene, and then there was Anton, and you know, a couple of other guys that I used to go on sessions with. But yeah, it was. And obviously the Victoria guys, Hugo and Neil and them, I went to go skate with them quite often. And we had these Wednesday night sessions. But yeah, it was tough, you know. You had to.
Have you guys skated with Cliff? He's got some rollerblades.
I haven't skated with him since sort of reconnecting. But yeah, I think what Lino's done so right down here is build this sort of the beginners and the sort of recreational skating. He's really kept that market alive, and because of the Sea Point Promenade and all these sort of they're nice places for people to skate. So they'd maybe be jogging and they're like, I'll try this on rollerblades. And then once you've already got them on rollerblades, it's easier to make a jump to aggressive. You're like, maybe I'll try a trick. So that's what's happening down here a lot, that I see guys that were rec skating and they're like, maybe I want to learn how to grind. So they go to the skate park and, practice soul grinds for a day. And I think that's what's keeping things alive down here.
So last year what I did was I did this little, I never filmed it or anything, but because I was hosting it with this other chick, we did this little like workshop where we got a bunch of rec skaters, mostly on quads and some rollerbladers, because they wanted to learn to ride ramps. So
at the shred, Frank?
Yes.
Yeah. I came to
workshop. Yes, you were there, and like just helped them, gave them tips, showed them stuff like dropping in and turning, doing 180s on the quarter or whatever, just to get people into skating ramps and stuff, because ramps can be daunting, bro. Like people want to do stuff, but look at it and hey, this is not what I want to do, really. And
no one wants to get hurt.
Exactly. And if you help them step by step.
I don't think I want to get hurt right now either. That shit hurts, and recovery time now today is wild, bro.
Dude, it's humbling now, and I think what's so good is you gotta like monitor your ego. As soon as you start feeling like a bit too
confident,
getting ahead of yourself, it's like, nah, bro, pump the brakes. Just stick to soul grinds and royales. Like warm up.
But we do underestimate how much it takes. Like it's one thing to skate forwards and be kind of comfortable on rec skates, but then like as soon as you want to start doing 180s and skating backwards, and just getting that control and that comfort and that balance, that like it takes some time. And so it's awesome to hear about that initiative to help people start learning those things, because there are little tips and tricks that can make it easier. You're going backwards and you put one foot a little bit behind the other one, and you got to balance it out. It's cool to hear about that.
And it's kind of weird. Sorry, that just got me thinking. There was no one really older than us that was teaching us. And it feels like there's no one younger that we've gotten to teach. It's just this weird block in the middle that we've sort of found ourselves in. I mean, obviously, we're trying to pass it on now a little bit, I feel, maybe. Sorry, Switch, what were you going to add there? Similar sort of, what were your thoughts there?
No, I think that's, it's just we missed the mentorship. Or having because everyone was like sort of ego strutting, and I'm better than you, and you can only learn from what you see, or come to the skate park and learn, and that's the only way you can learn. You know what I mean? When we're not with each other or skating at Kyalami, in the week, you should know that Herman and Clifford are practicing, because by the time you come to Kyalami, it's like, nah, bro, you didn't do that last week. You know what I mean? He was only learning it last week. And I think, the leveling up and it was just like myself and Vuyo and Dean. We'd go learn on like sketchy. We actually built our own rail that we got welded so we could just practice, so we didn't have to travel and all that kind of stuff, just to level up. So by the time you get to the contest, you're sort of ready. You know what I mean? Compared to what you see to today, like the variations and switch-ups the guys doing on a box, just a normal box, is they'll do like 5 and then put a set slide in it, or like things like that. And you just like, I mean, at the time, set slides weren't as tech as what they were today. Now you're gonna set slide across like a whole, I don't know what, the whole skate park if you can. You know what I mean? And it's like, it's just different. Like, once again, Byron, like you said, we're at the ground up, and the development and the evolution of the tricks are so crazy. You know what I mean? Like now rolling on, like, I don't know, wheelies or whatever, rolling on like a manual ride now is like a thing. Back then we thought it was so stupid because it wasn't aggressive. You know what I mean? But it's the type of thing that's considered today. And those are, I mean, like, I don't remember like doing this trick, a broad walk or wheelbarrow. Like those were like weird tricks. Right? And you know, and it's like those things of someone to tell you, just to come back to the point, is like there was no one there really giving you a coach and also like, yo, you need to recover, like heal. So before you get back onto the street course, now you fit or do these kind of exercises so that you can gain balance, so you can keep
or longevity up. As well. You know what I mean? Correct.
And a lot of people, we missed that step. We missed a big step if you wanted to go pro. You know, pro in South Africa. You know, it wasn't really pro, but like overseas, you know, and those kind of things where, you know, if we had the conditioning, I mean, a lot of, I mean, I know, Aaron, you were doing conditioning with Kung Fu. John, you were at the gym. I mean, the one guy who really got it right, I think, was Craig Uriah. And that guy he was built for the, like, you know, doing this kind of sports. You know, and it's like every time you'd see him and he was like, no, that guy's just solid. Like, he knows how to land tricks, and he was solid. And then eventually you'd get like a Matthew Dowd, and it's like, I don't think really it is like about how big you are, because Matthew became like a fly in the air. He would just like pop up and then do this. He'll do a 900 and I got it, you know, type thing. And he sort of found the juice. Like I said, like everybody would get their juice. And then if you find that juice, you just so much, you were a step ahead compared to everybody else. Like, you know, like the Cape Town riders were not about flying high and all that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? And then you'd get like the Joburg dudes who would have like an all-round kind of idea of just, you know, being the grinders, being the guys who can fly, who can do the spins, you know, do the acrobats behind it, and, you know, put the complete thing together. You know what I mean? And then, you know, Cape Town was more just grungy. They'd like, yo, we just skate rails in Cape Town. And that was like a thing for them. And that was also like, you'd see the different movements, you know, whether it be were you from Cape Town, whether you from Durban, whether you from Rustenburg and Johannesburg, and or from Pretoria. And those are like the things you know, like, oh, these guys are from here, because you can sort of see, like, Rustenburg always pulled up squad deep. Yo, Cape Town, and then obviously the Schmidl brothers, you know, they were like, you know, they also came, and there was this other guy also from Cape Town, also crazy dude. They would come with them, and would know, and they'd only obviously come when it was nationals, and then of course everybody would go down when it's Alex Grohl. But, you know, the one thing we missed was the mentorship, and kind of like having a trainer or coach to tell you like, hey, you need to kind of do these kind of things, or what are professional setups, or, you know, like you say, like workshops, you know, Frank. And we didn't have that. It was just like, we're gonna just figure it out ourselves, and if you buy the skate, that's how you get it. Like, that's the best setup because it works. You don't have to put any extra like bearings or different types of bearings for the type of contest you're going to skate, or where you're going to skate, the type of wheels that you get when you go street skating, or, you know, those kind of setups. And if you do get it, then you're lucky. I mean, like, I've got some old wheels here, like from like Kryptonic wheels. Those are like OG wheels, you know what I mean? I've got some of those.
They were good wheels,
you know. There's
Kryptonics.
They were strong wheels. Yeah, they were strong wheels. And it's just those kind of things, because it also made sense for the kind of streets we skated on. Like in our era, like in Berea and Yeovil, it was all rugged. And when you do get like smooth roads, you're like, heaven type stuff.
Finally.
And finally, you know. Yeah, man.
I was going to ask about, probably should have come earlier, but the Kensington Bowl, remember that spot?
Yes, I remember that.
Oh, yeah.
I thought that was maybe
a mediocre one.
Yeah, it was small, but we'd go there to link with you guys quite often, and then obviously then you're in Ellis Park, sort of Jeppe, that area, and there were some six spots around there. In fact, remember I think we brought along, was it YoTV or one of the channels that came to film us there, and they interviewed us, and it's also on my YouTube page if anyone wants to check. I don't know if you've seen that.
Link down below.
There's a few.
I remember Vits.
There's a few where we took a film crew with us, and I mean,
we got that dude so high.
Musa. Yeah.
Musa, yes, he was from Crazy.
Yeah, man. Crazy. That was it. Yeah, which was ETV, I think.
Yeah. I mean, ETV. I think, once again, also back in that era, like the media was a lot more present. So we would definitely get more eyes, more scope compared to today, where everything online. That's why if we had the kind of utilities we have today online to still keep the sport alive in South Africa with the people that we have around us, it would still be as golden as what it was back then. We would still run businesses in the culture, in the sport, all those kind of things. I mean, obviously you heard like with Mal, we tried to revive Maloof Cup, going to sort of get those tenders and all that kind of stuff to try and to get that hype back. But it was only though more for Kimberley more than anything else. It wouldn't move around the country. So once again, coming back to building community, and wherever you are, wherever you're watching this, the best thing is just to start. I know Neil, he planted a rail in his backyard and he practices on that rail. Just for fun.
Dude,
It's just on grass, and he just bro.
And now you
actual fact, Andrew Versace. Yeah, and I mean also Andrew Versace. That dude had a mini ramp in his backyard on the tennis court. It was one of his birthday gifts. I remember that dude. Yeah.
Wow.
And it's like if we just have more skate parks, cool, it can happen. I know there's a couple in Joburg. I know there's 4. It's YBF. Then there's the under the bridge in Mill Park. It's that free skate park. Frank, you've been there.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like it's more skate park oriented. I mean, the copings are like this fat.
Mm-hmm. There's another park. Isn't it in Southgate or something in the south? I don't know.
Florida.
There's one. It's indoor.
It's indoor.
It's in
isn't
a
it?
state.
Oh.
No,
and
I don't know about
Edenvale does Greenstone still have a skate park? You guys remember that one? Like a concrete park?
No.
Is it gone?
I think if anybody knows, do you remember Fly Station? Remember Fly Station? That was a skate park in Edenvale as well.
Yeah,
that was in Edenvale, Fly Station.
That. Oh right, I remember that.
So Fly Station. There was Fly Station. They used to have parties there as well. Yeah, I think whoever's watching, just drop us a list of where the skate parks are, and then just see if you can build community. And then the only thing now, because this is now a channel to speak to everybody, and then arrange get-togethers, the over 40s skate club.
There's the Veterans League.
You know what I mean?
But it doesn't matter what age you are. I mean, whatever, right?
Yeah.
Everyone. Even if you're 2 years old, bro, just drop a link.
Yeah, let's roll.
Exactly.
No, that's sick. I think part of it is like having the skate parks that don't close down, because having Kalami closed, and then like Monty's the place, and then Monty's closed, and then Waterfront is the place, and then Waterfront is closed. Like every time that shit closes down, people are like, oh well, what's left? Or you're going to lose some people that are no longer skating, because it's like, oh, that was right by my house. I used to love going to that spot. And it just becomes more and more difficult. And so like YBF has been solid for a number of years, and it's cool to go there. Wish there was more round rails, but we gotta. I don't know what we're gonna do, man. We're gonna have to build our own skate park. I guess that's it.
That's basically it. I think once again, GoFundMe. Yeah, I think when you have the idea and you still, I mean, if you listen to like Matt as well, I mean, it's you have the nostalgia. I mean, he mentioned naming his kid after his sort of like childhood hero is one of those things where, you know, it'll still live with you forever. Like, you know, I've still got my skates. I hustled one of the USD guys out of their skates for 400 rand. I remember.
Nice. That is a skill.
It was the Mexican dude. I can't remember his name, but yeah, I'll send an image and then you'll just. Abdil Colberg, that's correct.
Puerto Rican.
And actually, the Puerto Rican, I actually got his signature skate still today.
Oh, it's sick.
So, and it's from him. So amazing. When he was here. So yeah.
So cool.
So yeah, so it's like, yo, man,
When was the last time you skated, Switch?
Say that again, John.
When was the last time you skated?
I was telling Byron, like, I just normally go around my area, so I let my dog. Yeah, I just go. I can't even remember. It was last year sometime. Yeah. I just take my dog and use him as a sled, so he pulls me on my rollerblades, and I take him for a walk, and I'm getting tired.
Yeah, man. No, that's sick. So, well, the next time we go to YB,
also it's just skate park, man. Skate parks is just where you want. It's the safety ground, you know. I'm not trying to break a bone right now.
No, you know? No, I'm not trying to go street skating.
And then get a roasty and be like, and ask what happened. What happened?
Mm-hmm. Can't mess with the money makers.
Cool. You know, it's just a matter of like getting back on the skates and just go for a roll, getting used to it. I mean, nah. Nah. I mean, the one thing is that if you knew what you knew today about technique, yo.
Yeah.
I think the one thing is like, if you knew what you knew today about rollerblading, it would have been a totally different thing.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, well, that's the thing, right? Like each new sort of generation of people that are starting on a level above, like
say that again, John?
way higher than we were.
Yeah.
And I think the simple joy of just rolling, you don't really have to do tricks. You just putting on your skates and going and just feeling that roll. Immediately, I've got a smile on my face. I'm in a good mood. Like you forget about stuff. You're like, oh, damn, this is really fun. I missed this. You know what I mean?
Yeah, sure.
It's definitely a de-stressor,
Yeah. And it's like a meditation because it puts you present, like in the moment. You're not, as you say, worrying about future things and like stressed about your past or whatever. You're like sort of just enjoying and feeling right then and there. Like you try to get into that Zen mind of like no thought.
And it's a form of play, you know. It takes you back to that sort of childhood of yours, or just that playful mind state where you see an object and you're playing on it essentially. You know what I mean?
Just having fun.
Back in my day,
we used to play.
You kids don't know how good you got it. I had to strap grind plates and soul shit, and I had to grind my skate on the curb to make a groove.
Yeah. Did you see Randy Rodas is actually he was like doing tricks on quads and stuff?
Oh, sick.
I saw that. Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah,
he's also still skating good.
Yeah, I think with this whole Rio quad skating brand, he got quite involved with that. Overseas, saw that. But yeah, is there anything else you want to touch on? Have you got some of those clips there, B?
Try pull up a clip. We haven't actually introduced any video yet, so it's kind of new territory for us. But that is the direction we're going to start going, possibly.
I think doing it this way with a screen share is likely not going to have audio. But let's try go through a couple quick and see what we can see. Like this one.
Oh, this
certainly
is
one of the shows. I'm just going to mute it because it's way loud in my mic, but here's Switch's DJing and commentating at the same time. And there's some of the skateboarders rolling in.
Swamp. You remember that the smoke machine would put like that like fine layer of slippery substance on the ramps if they pump too much smoke. Remember that?
Yeah.
Mm.
B-boys rocking it.
This was like at the Santon Convention Center.
Oh, was this the convention center?
Crazy. I think the first time we skated the setup was in Durban, actually, where it was just box.
Yeah, Mal was getting quite a lot of crazy shows, and I'm sure well-paid shows as well at the time.
Or is this the proper box?
The corporate stuff.
I think I was thinking of something.
Yeah, I mean,
no, this is a proper box.
It was sick for us to earn a couple of grand for doing a skate show. Like, yeah, there was some work and some stress, but fucking awesome times to get paid for skating.
Mm.
Headspin. Someone ate it.
Rough.
Herman with a bio. Was it 540?
Yeah, we're gonna have to figure the video out.
Yeah, look, if we upload it into the platform, it works a lot better. But then we got to get the format right and blah blah blah, whatever.
Practice.
BMXs.
So the other crazy show there's no footage from is the Hunters Extreme show.
Yeah.
Yes.
The Hunters Extreme show was the national one, Cape Town, Durban, Joburg. Then there was also another show where somebody had to jump a car that puts two wedges, and it had just the bonnet of the car, and it was different shows that was going on, like crazy shows, and everybody would just be worried, like, will they touch the car, you know? And it's like everyone is just
so confident.
You have to be on your best behavior and just land all your stuff.
Dude, it's making me laugh because I'm thinking of the Sun City show. It was for like Spa or something, where there was a trolley on the ramp, and we'd be airing over, chucking the shopping goods into the
groceries in the air.
That's so fucking stupid.
I think someone tried to air with the trolley as well. I don't know. It was proper circus. It's not like they gave us a guide.
Superman with a trolley.
Yeah.
Well, that's what Happy does, dude. Shopping trolleys and weird stuff.
No, that's wild. Yeah. Dude, those ramps are huge on the fucking what is it called again?
Nitro Circus.
Nitro Circus.
Yeah, it's like FMX level ramps.
Fucking huge, yeah. Anyway, I think that's probably our time for today. Yeah, so it was a great pleasure to have you on, DJ Switch. Everyone out there, check out his podcast, Put Me On Switch. Stay up with the hip hop happening in South Africa. Yeah, man, respect. Thank you for coming on and sharing your memories with us, bro.
Oh yeah,
man,
it was
thank you for having me,
bro. And like awesome seeing you, even if it's on the video. But yeah, we definitely have to link when you're here and I'm here in South Africa. It will be great.
Yeah, bro, for sure. Next time I hit up YBF, I'm gonna call you up, Switch, and see if you're ready for a roll. Let's go do it.
Yeah, for sure, bro.
We'll get whoever else is around here.
Next time you're down in the Cape, Switch, bring those Abdil Kohlbergs. We'll go for a veteran session.
Definitely, bro. Definitely.
That'd be cool. Really good to catch up, bro. Really enjoyed this.
Yeah.
It's really
OG.
good to catch up, dude.
Shout out. OG status now. Bless everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in.
Man.
Do the right thing, like, subscribe, and do those happy things and share the memories with everybody.
Yeah, man. Thank you, Switch.
Shout out, man.
Have a blessed Sunday.
Peace,
all right.
dudes.
See ya.
You too, bro.